Is silver the new Bitcoin? We're in a very weird time right now to be alive when we see Bitcoin at a over $1 trillion valuation. Over $1 trillion in Bitcoin right now as I'm making this video. Crazy to think about. Now, what's even crazier is when you realize that silver's overall market cap, meaning all the silver above ground in the world, is somewhere between 1.3 and 1.5 trillion itself. So is it possible that silver could start being looked at in the same way that Bitcoin's being looked at? There's a lot of differences there, obviously, between a physical asset versus the digital Bitcoin. But when it comes to the market caps, there's some similarities there. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Welcome all the people joining into the live feed. Welcome. We're going to stream this one live. It's a very eye-opening moment when you realize that the market caps are getting very close between the two assets here. And the most eye-opening factor for me is when you realize, wait, to all of the people that think, oh, this is $1 trillion asset, you know, we can't move the needle on this. The average folk can't move the needle on this. There's no way they can ever compete with the banks on this one. Well, Bitcoin is seeming to do that. And how is Bitcoin doing that? Well, a lot of institutional money is going into there. There's the Tesla buying the 1.5 billion of Bitcoin. There are now guys like Michael Saylor putting a large amount of their companies. And is it that much of a long shot to think that big silver consuming companies out there are going to start gobbling up silver in the same way that Bitcoin is being gobbled up? Are they going to at least start buying a lot of contracts to get this silver delivered to them? Do they want to buy it now versus later? With everything going on in the world right now, with the printing press really going brr, you know, what are they going to be doing as these big companies? You see Tesla put 1.5 billion in their treasury. They might not be making an announcement about this, which a lot of my fellow silver squirrels in the house started talking about. You know, they might not be talking about this. They might just be doing it. They might just be getting these contracts to get delivery. Because remember, half of the mined silver is used in industry. Roughly half of it. So of the millions and millions and millions of ounces of silver that are mined, roughly half of it is just consumed. So if more people start holding physical silver as an investment, what happens to the marketplace? And are the people that are part of that consumption of silver going to want to start gobbling up the actual asset in the same way that they are gobbling up Bitcoin? It's a very eye-opening moment when you realize, wait a minute, Bitcoin's market cap is edging up to the same market cap as silver. It's very, very interesting. We can put broad numbers on it and say silver's market cap is roughly between 1 trillion and 1.5 trillion. We can put a half of a trillion, you know, broad range there. But Bitcoin is over $1 trillion at this point, which is just mind-boggling to think about. But before the masses think, oh, you know, there's no way we can, you know, compete with JP Morgan and these guys in the silver market. It's way too big of an asset. There's no way the needle can get moved. What happened in Bitcoin? What happened in Bitcoin, everybody? You know, it did get the needle moved. You know, they didn't expect this to happen. What did Jamie Dimon say about Bitcoin? Anybody go up on YouTube and see what Jamie Dimon had to say about Bitcoin in the very beginning. The guy was so against it, said it was not in. What about guys like Warren Buffett and all of them? Oh, Bitcoin, it's a zero. It's never going anywhere. This is just, it's not real, this and that. They were wrong. What about Peter Schiff? You know, I guess he's a libertarian. He's somebody that's not really government, so to speak, but you know, or big banks or anything like that, but very against Bitcoin. Guys who are very against Bitcoin, never. They got to change. They're changing the goalposts. Guys like Peter Schiff, they're changing the goalposts. Look at this last tweet he did. Oh, I did say it would never get over 50,000, but I don't think it could get to 100,000, but maybe it could, but I'm not sure. I didn't think that it was going to happen, but you know, it's all of this stumbling going on from Peter Schiff. You were wrong. Max Kaiser was right. You were wrong. It'd get you so much further if you just admitted it, buddy. It'd get you so much more further. But to the main point on hand here is, yes, the needle can get moved in silver in the same way that the needle got moved in Bitcoin. The market caps are the same. are getting close to the same, rather. They're not far off. So for those that think that this WallStreetBets community, or the WallStreetSilver community rather, can't get some exposure out there. And by the way, this WallStreetSilver, it's gaining momentum out there, everybody. It's gaining momentum. I'm looking at it. I'm watching how many people are on this Reddit forum, and it's jumped from 10,000 to 20,000 to over 30,000 members now on that WallStreetSilver Reddit. And I'm watching it. I'm looking at it. And everybody is talking about PSLV. Everybody is talking about physical silver. Now, I've looked into this Eric Sprotts, the guy who's, in charge of this PSLV. This seems like a very upstanding thing, PSLV. It seems legitimate. And how do I know it's very legitimate? Because I can't buy options on it. I was looking on the options chains, and of course, I could gamble away on SLV. I can do whatever I want on SLV. You can do all kinds of options in there. But on PSLV, there's not an options chain for some reason. That's interesting. What that tells me is there's not much manipulation going on in PSLV. There's not much of the intricate details of technical trading going on there. It's just people that want to own silver. And seeing that is very interesting. And then seeing the crowd starting to talk more and more about PSLV makes me realize just how, for lack of a better word, wrong SLV is. And as I get into more talks like this, I have to say that I am not a financial advisor. This is not to be taken as financial advice in any way, shape, or form. This is just my opinion. Just my opinion. I am not a Series 7, not to be taken as financial advice in any way, shape, or form. I am not responsible for your trading or investing. Disclaimer. Now that that's out of the way, I think SLV is not the place to be. I think it is PSLV and physical silver. That's my personal opinion. I think that the PSLV, everybody talking more and more about this PSLV is very interesting to me. The other thing that I'm realizing now is as this market cap gets closer and closer to Bitcoin's market cap, you're starting to see more and more people talking about this, more people talking about silver and Bitcoin at the same time. I think the two are much more similar than others might think. I mean, they're needed. Both things are very needed. These institutions need a way to store their money. They need a way to store their money, and they need a way to store that capital without having to pay inflation rates or interest rates. So with Bitcoin, if you own the Bitcoin, well, there is no custodian charges. You just own it. With silver, there probably will be custodian charges, but very marginal in comparison to the inflation rate of the dollars in your treasury. So what do these big companies have as a problem? Why did Tesla buy Bitcoin? And a lot of it. Why did they buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin? Because they are scared of a dollar dilution crisis. They are scared of inflation. They are scared. They know that saying, more money, more problems. Well, they got a lot of money sitting there in their vault, and that money is denominated in dollars. A lot of these companies have a big problem, and the big problem, if they're doing well as a company, ironically enough, if you're doing well as a company and you have money in your vaults, well, you got a problem on your hands. And that problem is, what do we do with this money before it gets burned? This money has a certain burn rate, and we know it has a certain burn rate year over year. What are we going to do about this? So far, a lot of them are going to Bitcoin as a solution, going, okay, well, at least we know that there won't be any burn rate here. Yeah, it's volatile. Yeah, it's a risky play here. But at the same time, the dollar we see as a riskier play. So how does that lead us to silver here? And by the way, yes, I do have my clickbaity pile of silver here on the left. I'm sorry, it is what it is. But it is eye candy and it's clickbait, but it's real, and it just gets the point across. Well, the same problems that these companies have, for going into Bitcoin, which is, being afraid of the dollar being diluted and the money in their treasury going down in value month by month by month, just going down and down in value. And they say inflation isn't at a certain rate. I think inflation is happening. Myself, people can say whatever they want. I look past the smoke and mirrors, and I think it'd be absolutely astonishing to think that you could print $3 trillion and that inflation wouldn't grow. I think that that is astonishing that some people actually think that. Most of them are from the Fed. But they say things like that. Yeah, we can just print $3 trillion, inject it into society. Banks can have 0% interest rates. You know, if the dollar's so strong, Yellen, then raise the interest rates. Powell, Yellen, if the dollar's so strong, put your money where your mouth is. Raise that interest rate. Let's put it up to 2%. Let's see what happens. It's at 0. You're probably going to make it negative soon. But let's go ahead. Let's see what happens. You know, dollar's strong, right? Inflation's not going up. Let's just put the interest rate up. You won't do it. You won't do it. Let's play chicken. Let's play chicken and find out who's chicken. All right. Let's put let's put it up to 1%, 2%. You know, Yellen's pretty confident. Let's make it 3%, Yellen. See what happens. The dollar would collapse. The dollar would just collapse the second it was announced. So no, the dollar is not strong. And to those that think the dollar is strong, which most of them are from the Fed, well then, you know, why don't you actually raise the interest rates then if you really believe that? Because you don't believe it. You're just talking. You're a talking puppet. But back to the point on hand, if you're scared of what the truth is, because a lot of these, you know, all the CFOs of the world, are all the financial officers of all these companies, they can probably read into what's happening here, just like all of us in this chat room can read into what's happening here, right? All the people in the chat room here can read into what's happening here. More and more companies are going to be looking for a place to park their assets, and Bitcoin is one of them. That's what Tesla just chose. Silver is honestly, in my opinion, the next best thing. I think that they're both incredible things to add to your balance sheet, to add to your assets as a company. If you are scared of a currency crisis, if you're scared of a dilution happening, which is obviously looking like it's happening, you need the material. And as for the cars that Tesla's producing, for example, they are needing more and more silver as you get more into automated cars. The more that these cars have electrical components to them, the more silver that's going to be needed for these cars. The more solar panels that are being deployed across the world, the more silver is going to be needed. What happens when more of this Green New Deal, which seems to be growing with momentum and is what's being implemented, is that the government is starting to push green things like electric cars, like solar panels. And if this Green New Deal continues to go through, which it looks like it has or is, well, they're going to need a lot more silver. And what are you going to do if you're one of these companies right now? You're going to either be buying the physical silver, or you're going to be tying into contracts to get delivered the physical silver at a certain rate of delivery. It's a perfect storm for silver. So why am I making the comparison between Bitcoin and silver? Well, they're getting very close on market cap. So the first point is that to those that think the needle can't be moved on silver and that it's just too big and that there's no way for any type of short squeeze to happen in silver, did anybody think that Bitcoin was going to go from 3,000 to 55,000? Did anybody? Really ask yourself. If you went back in time to Bitcoin at 3,000, 4,000 just about a year ago, would you have thought that it could go to this level? That Bitcoin could be an over $1 trillion valuation? The same thing could happen with silver. The same thing. And that is the biggest thing I wanted to get across in this video is the market cap. A lot of people still think of Bitcoin as this digital funny money, you know, it's not real, it's just this digital stuff. $1 trillion market cap? It's not exactly internet funny money anymore. That's quite a market cap there. It's quite a market cap. That's a larger market cap than Tesla's entire market cap. So it puts it into perspective a bit. But then when you realize how close it is to silver's market cap, you realize that the needle can really get moved. And it's interesting to see that. Now, what is my prediction on what could happen with silver? Everybody asks me, you know, I get this question constantly. What do I think could happen to silver? The historical ratio for silver to gold has been 16-1. They're not really using gold for things, but they sure are using a lot of silver. They're using a lot of silver. And they're going to continue to need more and more silver as we get further along with this Green New Deal. So what does that tell you? Well, It tells me personally that that ratio needs to tighten up. And I called back when silver was, I believe it was 110 to 1 on the ratio when I made that video with 100,000 of silver versus 100,000 of gold. I believe it was 110 to 1 at that time, or 100 to 1, something like that. I'm like, this ratio makes no sense. 100 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. This makes no sense. This is ludicrous. Well, 65 to 1 is still ludicrous in my mind. It turns out that thesis was correct. I did very well on my silver position from that time until now. And all the videos are posted. If you want to go check out my old videos, please do that. Let me know what you think. But silver shouldn't be at a 65 to 1 ratio right now. It shouldn't be that. The silver to gold ratio should be around 1 to 20, 1 to 16 is the real, 1 to 16 is the historical ratio. And where did they get the 1 to 16? Well, there's 5 parts per billion of gold in the Earth's crust is what is believed. And there is 75 parts per billion silver. Now, this gets interesting when you learn more about the stats of it, because that means 15 to 1. 75 parts per billion to 5 parts per billion. That's 15 to 1. That's where you get that ratio, 15 to 1, 16 to 1. And that's why they did that fixed price at that level. What's crazy is there's more silver in the crust. It's getting harder and harder to mine it because they have to go deeper and deeper into the crust now at this point. But what's interesting is silver is far more rare above ground than gold. There is about 8 times more gold above ground than silver. This pile of silver here, you would think, oh yeah, this isn't that as rare as gold. Gold is, gold. It's this little block, this 10-ounce block is worth, 20 grand. How is that this more rare? It is. Crazily enough, this silver pile here is more rare than the gold above ground. It's a crazy thing when you realize that. And what's even crazier is when you realize that the market cap is actually rather small. When you talk about a 1.2 to 1.5 trillion market cap, somewhere in that range, and Bitcoin getting closer and closer to matching silver's market cap, it makes you realize just how small the silver market cap is, considering this is a monetary metal. And it has been a monetary metal for quite some time. You would expect it to have a much higher market cap, but it doesn't. So I think that conservatively, a 16 to 1 ratio on silver right now is, if you, and gold seems to be rather low right now too. I think gold should be a lot higher, but even with gold at its current price and silver at its current price, you have a 65 to 1 ratio. I think that ratio tightens up to about 1 to 20, especially with the Green New Deal and all the things that are getting passed to put more and more silver into these needing more and more materials in the silver material in your components that are being pushed by this Green New Deal. And it's getting pushed regardless, really. Everybody's going to electric cars. They're all going to solar panels. I think you have to use solar panels in new homes. There's some sort of certain amount of solar panels that needs to be deployed per home that's being built now, specifically in my state, which is very interesting. And as you see more and more of this Green New Deal stuff go through, well, you're going to need more silver. So it's a perfect storm. Even regardless, without that, the ratio should be 16 to 1, 20 to 1 range. But with that, it really should be 1 to 10. And so what would that make the price of silver? Well, right now, that would make the price of silver about 110 an ounce. If the ratio was 1 in 16 right now, they would be about 110 an ounce of silver, 116, I think, per ounce of silver. So in my opinion, that's where silver should be right now. If there wasn't for all the market manipulation and there wasn't all this price suppression, and I'm going to get into a bit more of that with the technical analysis type stuff, it should be about 100 an ounce, 110 an ounce. Maybe even higher than that with everything going on. I think that in the same way we saw institutional money going into Bitcoin, well, we might start seeing institutional money going into silver, and we might not see it above ground, pun intended, I guess, in the same way that we saw with Bitcoin. Tesla might secretly be buying up contracts right now because they know they need it. Sony knows they need it. Toshiba knows they need it. Samsung knows they need it. They all know they need silver. They're using tons and tons. I believe it's like 100 million ounces a year is used just in the automotive industry. And that's before we've gotten to the electric age. Now that we're in the electric age, how many hundreds of millions of ounces of silver is going to be needed? I believe there's only like 900 something million mined a year. So I would imagine the automotive industry just starts sucking up a ton of silver, tons of it. So at a bare minimum, these institutions and these large companies are going to want to start purchasing contracts. Well, how much can the COMEX really deliver? Until you can buy as much paper contracts as you want. You can short it as much as you want, JP Morgan. You can mess with all those paper contracts and do all those funky options trade and everything that you do. But at some point, you're going to have to give up the metal. And are you going to have enough metal to give up? That's the real question. Because it's not just like with Bitcoin, it's not just the retail buyers. It's not just the WallStreetSilver guys. It's more than that. It's actual institutions and large companies looking to make sure that they have the materials necessary for their products for that year. It's far more than just retail buyers. There is the same thing that you saw with Bitcoin. There is that the Tesla, buying the 1.5 billion of Bitcoin, they exist for silver. Regardless of this recent WallStreetBets and WallStreetSilver, all of that, regardless of any of that, they were already needing silver for their products. And now that they're scared of a dollar dilution, well, yeah, they're going to want more silver. They're going to want more silver. They're probably under a lot of pressure. And now also what's brilliant is I think that JP Morgan for a very, very, very long time, and I was even wrong about this in the beginning about SLV until we started digging into it more. And that's why I love all the comments and all my fellow silver squirrels, all the DMs that I've been getting on my Instagram and everything. By the way, if I missed your comment, shoot me a DM on Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. If you follow me there and shoot me a DM, I will get back to you. I'm working through those. I know that it's been a little while. I will get back to every single DM. Give me a little bit of time. Rob, can you answer my super chat? I will get to that. Let me see. I never like missing those. I really appreciate it. Actually, this is on subject here too. So Elijah Reyes, I really appreciate the $5, man. I really don't try to miss those super chats. I was ranting. I'm sorry about that. Thanks, Rob. Do you have any insight on futures contracts expiring on February 24th? Will they expire with high demand for physical silver? Now, nobody can really say, and that's a great question, Elijah, and that's where a lot of talk is right now. A lot of people are saying this next week is a very, very, very important week in silver due to these options contracts expiring. Nobody can say for sure, but what I can say for sure is the demand for silver isn't slowing down in any way. That's what I can say. It doesn't seem like the demand is slowing down at all. It seems like, if anything, it's picking up and gaining more momentum, and more people are talking about silver right now than ever before. I've been in the silver business for 5-6 years, and I have never seen demand like this. I have never seen it being talked about like this, and my channel really is a testament to that. Seeing that my channel went from a couple thousand subscribers to 13,000. I think we made it to 13,000 subscribers. Everybody that subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. If you want to subscribe, just click that red button down there. And if you click the bell afterwards and put all notifications after clicking the bell, you'll be notified of all future live streams and videos on my channel. It's free to do it. Love to have you in the community. But that's a testament to how many people are talking about silver. So it's going to be a very interesting week. And I can tell you this much. I've bought a lot of silver. I've bought a lot of silver. Just not only for myself, but also for my business, because it's getting harder and harder to find silver in quantity. It's hard to put together a $100,000 order of silver. It's funny because it's actually easier to find a small amount of silver, like a few ounces, 10 ounces. And it's funny because there's actually starting to get a bit of a premium to buy in bulk. So to buy in bulk is actually becoming harder to find in smaller quantities, which it didn't used to be like that. If you bought a lot at one time, you would get a better price and you would be able to get a really good deal because you're buying, $250,000 worth of silver, or hundreds of thousands worth of silver, $1 million worth of silver. But now it's actually like, oh, you need that much? Okay, I'll try my best. We'll see what we can do here, and I'll scrape together up some there. It's like, what? There's a premium now when you're buying in bulk. You're doing somebody a favor to get them silver in bulk at this point, which is very interesting. I don't think the demand for silver is going to slow down at all, and I'm talking about it from a retail perspective. Now, when it comes to this options chain expiring and all of that, all the stuff that people are talking about within this next week, well, my bet personally, what I personally think is it would be foolish to think that the demand isn't through the roof by these institutions. We might end up realizing that yes, Sony, yes, Tesla, yes, Toshiba, yes, Samsung, they've been buying silver contracts like crazy, and they're going to start asking for delivery of it because you can't really put a paper contract in a car. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to burn pieces of paper and put them in the semiconductors? Like, how are you going to do that exactly? You know, so it's these paper contracts. They can do as much as they want with these paper contracts. They can manipulate the market as much as they want. And I actually want to talk about the chart here with PSLV, pull up the 20-day chart on PSLV, because you see this huge spike just a couple weeks ago where it jumped over 30 an ounce at the beginning of February. And you see this slow, gradual bring down, but they couldn't get it back down to 25, 24. It's still holding strong. But you see that slow, methodical kind of pullback, but you see this rally over 30. And so that kind of showed the reality of the situation. And then the paper contracts slowly manipulated it down in a sense. And I'm going to show you that chart in a second here. My personal thoughts on it is I think that there is far more orders for physical silver than people might think. You know, I think that there is far more of it. And I think that the demand is continuing to go up. Now, obviously, I hold a bias because I like silver quite a bit. I really, really put my money where my mouth is with silver. But I would be hard pressed to think that these companies that need the metal, with all the hype going on with silver, weren't buying contracts for delivery. I would be hard pressed to think that. And all of the people right now talking about silver, well, they're talking about silver on delivery. They want PSLV because you can actually get the silver. And if more and more people, investors, outflow out of SLV, well, then that takes away the power from JPM. And at some point, maybe JP Morgan wants to be part of the growth rate of silver. Maybe they're like, okay, we're so sick of this manipulation that we've been doing for so long. And, you know, we got away with it for a while, but it seems like the public is catching on here. Maybe they want to be part of the gains. Maybe they want to flip over to being long and just actually be long silver. That would be the smart play if you were Jamie Dimon. Seems interesting to me. So I think that just like with Bitcoin getting institutional money into it, I think institutional money is flowing into silver like never before. And I think that we just don't get to see it in the same way that we see Bitcoin. You know, if Tesla puts 1.5 billion into Bitcoin, you know, it front page news everywhere. But they don't want to tell you that they're buying silver because they need it for the years to come. So they might be silently buying silver, and they can still get by as a company with silver over 100 an ounce. It's not like that's going to stop them from producing cars. I mean, they would still be able to produce solar panels, produce cars and everything at a very good rate. And it wouldn't really damage the bottom line too much for silver to be 100, 200 an ounce. But still, they're going to want to buy it prior to that run up. You know, they're going to want to get into silver and at least buy the contracts to get silver steadily delivered to them over the next few years here. So to think that it's a great question, Elijah, and I'm still rambling about your question. I would think that it would be crazy to think that there wasn't companies wanting more and more physical silver right now. I think that we see a major jump in silver in the next few weeks. And my long-term thesis on silver is well over 100 an ounce within the next few years here. And I've been conservative about that in the past where I've said, you know, within the next 5 years, I think silver will be over 100, which by the way is an interest rate that just blows away any bank. The banks are basically, you're giving them free loans with banks. So if you give them 100 grand, what do you make on 100 grand in the interest rate at a bank? Silver going to 100 over the next 5 years is very, very conservative, but that sure beats the interest rate there. So I look at silver not as like a pump and dump, get rich scheme. I think of it as one of the conviction plays. You know, I think of Bitcoin as a conviction play where you're sitting in it for the long haul. I think of silver as a conviction play. I make a lot more money parking $1 million with conviction into something than I do risking and doing a gamble for 1,000 hoping for a 10x return. You know, I make a lot more being able to buy something with major conviction. And I have that with silver. And so I think of silver as like a very high yielding bank account, like a very good interest rate on a bank account in a way that you actually get to see and hold and touch, you know. And now this PSLV, learning more and more about it, this Sprott Silver Trust, I think it's great. The more I research into PSLV, it's like if you have SLV, I would very much so consider putting that into PSLV. Just myself, just my personal opinion on it. SLV has so many fine print things, so many little loopholes and, little finagling things that they got going on with SLV. I don't like it. I think PSLV really is the winning the winning one of the two. If you are trying to get into silver on the market and you're not able to get physical silver is obviously number one for me. I like physical silver, actually holding it, and you get to enjoy the premiums with physical silver. So although silver might be, and we can do a little market update right now. Although silver might be, and it's up a bit, and so is platinum. Platinum's just holding its gain big time at 1,300. It's really nice to see platinum starting to tighten up that ratio with gold, because it should be a 2-to-1 ratio with gold, with platinum being the 2. Or platinum being the 1 rather, and gold being the 2. Platinum should be double the price of gold. Far more rare, far more needed. But silver right now is at 27.53, which isn't exactly low on silver. But the thing that I want to talk about first here is, let's look at this PSLV chart really quick. I'm going to pull up the candlestick chart. This is very telling to me, and I posted this in my Facebook group. Now, that's the 20-day chart, and I'm trying to be able to show you the chart at the same time as talking here, but that's the 20-day chart. You see that crazy spike right there, and then the slow pull down. That is very interesting to me and very telling. That's something we might see over the next week here. You see how serious that demand was by how sharp the candlesticks jumped up. The Sprott Silver Trust, the Sprott Physical Silver Trust, jumped to 13 at its high, and it went there fast, right at open. It was getting bought up by the retail, and then I think it's, the big banks and stuff started realizing, oh no, we got to stop this because this can run to 100. What do we do here? We got to stop this. We can't have this, running, and keep going like this. And so it's slowly the paper contract market slowly brought down silver, and so it brought it down from that spike. But the thing is, they couldn't bring it down low enough. It's still holding 27.5. So that run to get over 30, I'm looking for it. And this might be the week where we get over 30 and we hold over 30. It's very interesting times in silver. Very interesting times, because if there was a perfect storm in place for silver and Bitcoin, it's now. I mean, these are needed. These big institutions need a way to store their capital and be able to send their capital overseas, wherever they need to send their capital at whenever they want. So Bitcoin gives them the possibility, or not even the possibility, the actuality of being a bank. And they can control their assets, and they can move money around however they want, and they can store that money without paying any custodian. In the same way, silver is a material that they need. They use it in their electronics every day. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of ounces of silver gobbled up by industry. Where are they going to be mining silver in the future? Where's First Majestic going to be located in the future? Probably at landfills. Digging up silver out of landfills and processing silver out of old electric components, because they need a lot of it. And eventually that will be the best place to mine, because they're actually using it. They need this. So these institutions need a place to park their money, because they know the burn rate of the dollar sitting in their treasury. They have to put it somewhere. And why not put it in a material that you need? Now, I don't know how they would formulate that on their bottom line. Maybe they're putting silver as, an expense. And that would be interesting. Maybe Tesla's buying $1 billion silver position and marking it as an expense on the balance sheet, because they use it as materials. I don't know exactly how they are formulating it, whether they're going to formulate it as an investment like they did with Bitcoin, or if they're going to formulate it as an expense on their bottom line, because it is an expense. Now, is it a long-term thing where they just slowly eat away at their silver position? I'm not sure, but I would imagine them not to want to be public about it. The only way we would find out is by seeing these delivery numbers. How many of these contracts are going to be used for delivery. It's going to be an interesting week. It's going to be a very interesting week. So to answer that, I can't tell anybody, I know for a fact that there's going to be way more people asking for delivery than, you know, not asking for delivery. But my gut says, yeah, there's more demand for silver than ever. And if I was a big company, I'd be very scared of what happened with GameStop and what's happening with Bitcoin. When you actually analyze how small of a market cap silver is, which is the point of this video, you realize, wait, the needle can get moved in silver. It's going to take longer than, you know, a micro cap like GameStop or AMC, but the needle can get moved in silver. And if more and more people want physical silver and want to actually take possession of it, well, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. And I've been looking at the mining stocks. Everybody's talking about the mining stocks. I would rather own the actual metal that's been mined because it's so cheap. The metal is so cheap right now just to have the actual physical metal. And the same people that are saying, oh, silver's expensive now at 27.5 and now with the premium adjusted, it's well over 30. But those same people were talking about silver being overvalued at 15, 16. You know, and so eventually it'll be the same people that think that silver is too expensive at 27.5. They're going to say the same thing when it's 45. You know, when they're going to say the same thing when it's 55, you know, 65, 75. Oh, it's too high here at 75. Well, the thing is, what are you valuating it in? And how diluted are the things that you're valuating it in? Are you valuating the silver in dollars? If you're valuating the silver in dollars, well, then the upside is infinity, because they're printing it infinity pretty much with a dollar. So it depends on what your instrument of value is. Are you valuating the silver in Bitcoin? Now that would be interesting. Eventually it might be a 1-to-1, well, not a 1-to-1 ratio, obviously, because Bitcoin is so expensive, but the market caps might be the same. And you might see, you know, a situation where people are valuing silver in Bitcoin. Who knows what the future brings? But if you're valuing these assets in dollars, and a lot of people, they bring up that argument, well, you're valuating your Bitcoin in dollars, or you're valuating your Bitcoin in euros, or whatever your currency is. The ultimate thing with Bitcoin, and this is why Yellen is saying we want to do capital gains prior to declaring your capital gain. You know, so that basically essentially means that Yellen is saying, we see that you're up a lot of money on your Bitcoin. We want you to sell and force you to sell to pay taxes on your gains that you never declared. So even if you didn't sell your Bitcoin, we still want to, it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy, but she said it. Makes no sense, but she said it. They're scared of people holding their money in Bitcoin and not selling it, and rather leveraging against their Bitcoin, rather leveraging against the asset and getting a loan against the asset instead of selling it. And that might sound complex to a lot of people, and it might be very eye-opening to a lot of people in this live stream, but excuse me, there's a lot of more people talking about that, namely Michael Saylor and a lot of these guys that are talking about, I'm never selling my Bitcoin, I'm leveraging it. Just like with a asset, with a building. I'm not selling my building, I'm leveraging against it. And then I'll get another building. That's the Robert Kiyosaki method. They're doing that with Bitcoin. And so what's the point of talking about like that? The goal of Bitcoin, if nobody's selling it and everybody's leveraging against it, well, they are considering it the best currency. They're considering it, you know, the cleanest shirt in the dirty hampers, just like the dollar's been for a very long time. They are willing to go into a different currency as long as it is just a leveraged play on their actual asset, which is very interesting to see that with Bitcoin. Now, the other aspect of that is, are we going to be valuing things in dollars, or is dollars going to be a temporary medium to buy a good or service? You know, is it a temporary medium, and the Bitcoin is the ultimate medium that you leverage against to get a temporary medium? Instead of the dollar being the ultimate medium, maybe it becomes the temporary medium to buy things. And what if you're evaluating things in Satoshis in the future? You know, what if you're evaluating things in a different thing than dollars? That's a very macro thing to think about, and why I'm out of the stock market right now. Because you not only have a stock market that is wildly overvalued on a lot of companies, but at the same time, it's valued in dollars that are heavily diluted. So it's less about the price of things and more about what you are denominating the thing. You know, are you considering the idea that the dollar can crash, the dollar index could go to 45? What does that do to all the stocks that are valued in dollars and not Bitcoin, or not valued in silver, or not valued in gold? What happens in that scenario if the dollar crashes but the stock stays the same price? You know, you might see your stock, and I've talked about this in prior videos, you might see a stock that's 500 a share, but if the dollar crashed from 90 on the dollar index to 45, which isn't a long shot based on how much they've diluted this currency, is your stock still 500? dollars? Or is it really half of that, but you just can't see it, and there's smoke and mirrors, you know, hiding the truth of the reality of the situation? It's you can't print silver. You can't print Bitcoin. These things are finite, somewhat finite with silver, ultimately finite with Bitcoin. You can't print those things. You can't just load up the printing press and print away. That's not the way money was ever meant to be. It was always meant to be something that was hard to get. I've talked about in prior videos, what is money? Well, money should be something that's hard to get. Silver's hard to get. Bitcoin is hard to get. Dollars aren't for the Fed or for anyone printing this thing away. You know, it's not hard to get for these banks. They can just give away loans at will, and they won't raise the interest rate so that they can give away more and more loans at 0% on their end, not on our end, but on their end. There's really no end in sight to the dilution of the dollar, and I can imagine it continues and continues and continues until it ultimately can't anymore. So I hope that's not just rambling about this subject. I hope that there's some gems in this information, because the ultimate goal of this channel is to help people, and I hope that the information does help you. I don't want to do these live streams for too long, because a lot of people want to watch them later on that miss the live stream. Sometimes I do these a little bit late because it's been very busy at my warehouse. We've been going through an expansion, getting a whole new shipping department, hiring more employees for Mineral Exchange. It's just been intense. If I haven't gotten back to your email inquiries on the website, it's because I am just completely... I can't keep up with the demand for silver and the demand for precious metals. I'm completely over my head. I'll just be completely honest with you. So if I haven't gotten back to you yet, I will get back to you. But it has been just for a smaller player. The benefit of being a smaller player is you actually have the silver to provide, because you're working with individual clients on a smaller level, which is very beneficial. But at the same time, it's a lot for a small company to keep up with this kind of demand. It's a lot. And I would imagine that it doesn't slow down at all. Not only on the retail consumers like us, but also on the big institutional level as well. And are these companies that have been shorting silver for so long and messing with silver in the paper world for so long going to start getting long on it and realizing that they just can't win? They can't keep it up. And so what happens when more and more people get out of SLV and go into PSLV, more and more people go into physical silver? It could get very interesting. And the main thing I wanted to talk about with this video, just to reiterate, is that the market cap is very close to Bitcoin's market cap, which was something that nobody really saw coming like this. Just like we're looking at Bitcoin now. I have friends of mine that are like, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a full Bitcoin at 55,000. These were the same individuals that were looking at Bitcoin, you know, that it was 3,000 to 4,000, and I was one of them. I mean, luckily I ended up pulling the trigger on some of it down low, but you know, we're all in this together. We're looking at like, I don't know about this Bitcoin thing. It's, I mean, 4,000 a Bitcoin, that's kind of expensive, you know, and now we're those same people, and I'm one of them going, should I buy another one at 55,000? You know, it seems like it's going really to the moon here. Like, what do we do? Do we buy another one? Nobody saw that movement happening in Bitcoin. And why is that relevant? Well, the market caps are very, very close, silver and Bitcoin. Yet silver is a monetary metal that's literally written in our Constitution. So all the people that say we the people, well, read, I believe it's, what is it, Section 10 or Amendment 10. They talk about silver and gold coinage being the only thing that the states can make money. It's in there. So to see that silver has a market cap that is close to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is, it seems to be closing the gap closer and closer to that same market cap as silver, what that tells me is that the needle can get moved in silver. That this isn't some giant in the room that can't get moved no matter what the silverback gorillas of the Wall Street Silver movement or the, in my little community here, are us silver squirrels. I like silver squirrels better than gorillas. You guys can say gorillas, just like some people say their spirit animal is a tiger or something because it sounds ferocious. I'm going to still stick with the fact that I'm a squirrel, because I tuck away my acorns and I stash my acorns and I save them for a rainy day and I go into hibernation. I'm a squirrel at the end of the day. I'm not a tiger. I'm not a lion. I'm a squirrel. So I know that they're saying gorillas, but I'm going to stick with squirrel. I like squirrel better. Makes more sense to me. Well, there's been a lot of comments in here. Again, if I missed your comments, please go to my Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. I'm answering every single DM. I know I got back to a lot of you, but there is going to be, I'm going to put put away like a few days just to get back to all the messages. I think I'm down to like 150 or 160 of them left in the DMs. But if I haven't gotten back to you, shoot me a message on my Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram, and I will get back to every single DM there. Follow me on Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram and shoot me a DM there. If I missed your comment, I will get back to you. I really do appreciate these super chats. Let me get to some of these super chats because I know I missed a couple of them. We will get into some Q&A. Jay Kroc says, APMEX CEO has a message on their site saying they're now on top of retail demands for delays are weather related. Curious to hear your thoughts. Thanks. I am very curious about that as well. I did see that statement from APMEX's CEO, but if that's true, how come they're still charging such a big premium? Why don't you drop your Silver Eagles down to like a realistic price than APMEX CEO? Because last time I checked, their Silver Eagles are through the roof on their prices. So if that was true, maybe they should drop their premiums down, but they haven't. You know, actions speak louder than words. People say things like Elon Musk with Dogecoin, and then he goes and buys Bitcoin. They say things with their words, but what do they really do with their actions? That's what I'm interested in. Now, are they trying to negotiate a better rate from their suppliers? Are they trying to get to a supplier and say, oh, no, we're good. You know, we're catching up. You know, you guys' premiums are really high. Because just like I was talking about earlier in the wholesale channels, people are paying premiums to get larger quantities, which is, I've never seen that flip flop. It's always you buy more, you get a better rate. But now it's just buying more and you're lucky to buy more. That's what the ultimate scenario has been here is you are lucky to get this much silver. You're lucky. I should charge you a more premium for it. You're lucky. So that might be a tactic. That might be a tactic by them to say something along the lines. And I'm just thinking about it from a dealer's perspective. I think that's more of a tactic to pretend like the demand isn't where it is right now, just so that you can get a better rate from a supplier. But I can tell you this much, the suppliers would read through that. I mean, maybe they might be able to pull it off, but these suppliers are being it seems they're being pretty stingy with these larger amounts of silver. But great question, Jay Kroc, and I think it's something we'll have to look into over the next week. I mean, my personal thesis here, I think silver breaks 30 very soon. I think it breaks 30 a lot sooner than people expect. Let me pull up silver one more time. I want to see where it is. We won't know until the actual U.S. market opens what happens here, but something tells me that the demand for physical silver on an institutional and a company, all these large companies on their basis, I think it's going to continue. And right now, silver's sitting at 27.51 and holding, and platinum's right there at 1,300. It's pretty crazy to see platinum at 1,300. I've been very bullish on platinum for a long time. But I really appreciate the $5, Jay Kroc. It really does add up, those super chats, and it means a lot to me. So thank you for that. And that's a great question as well. Really appreciate it. Hope that helps. And that's kind of my perspective on it as a dealer. Let me get to, there was one other super chat. I wanted to get to that. RMD123. RMD123, you've been showing a lot of support, man. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. He goes, I just joined, but yes, silver is the new Bitcoin. Bring me up to speed real quick, brother. Luckily, I will post all of my live streams. I'm trying to keep the live streams around an hour. I'm at, 50 minutes now. I want to do the live streams for about an hour, so I'll get to some more Q&A type stuff. In the beginning, it's always good to talk about just kind of a rant on the situation here, but this, I'm trying to make sure that it's more than just clickbait. Obviously, I got this pile of silver, and that's clickbait. You know, obviously, we got the big WallStreetSilver on the banner, but I have changed it from WallStreetBets to WallStreetSilver. A lot of people are saying, oh, WallStreetBets isn't talking about silver, this and that. Well, how's WallStreetBets working out? How's the GameStop working out? The AMC working out? I think the guy who started WallStreetBets is actually under investigation by like the SEC or something like that. So it didn't really work out too well. All the people with diamond hands, they realized that one guy wanted to grab the diamond and split, like I've been talking about in prior videos. But this WallStreetSilver crowd seems to be gaining some momentum. So maybe WallStreetBets isn't really the scenario here. And I have been titling my videos WallStreetSilver. I know that WallStreetBets is probably more clickbaity, but yeah, there's clickbait here, but I hope that there is some substance more so than the clickbait. You know, obviously it's nice to see 1,000 ounces of silver on a table. But at the end of the day, I hope that there's some value, because I didn't realize that Bitcoin was getting closer. I knew it, but I didn't actually look at it closely yet. And to see that Bitcoin's market cap is very close to silver's market cap is very eye-opening to how far retail can move the needle, and how far institutional money can move the needle once it starts piling into something. You know, that could easily happen with silver. So is silver the new Bitcoin? On a tangible level, yes. I think that there is a big place for both of them. And this is why I've been so opposed to Peter Schiff for so long. You're talking about something where their combined market caps, gold, well, silver and Bitcoin combined. Let's just talk about silver and Bitcoin for right now. We're talking about less than $3 trillion. Less than $3 trillion in these two assets that could explode to the upside. Because how could they explode to the upside when you talk about less than $3 trillion between these two, almost divided exactly at 3 trillion, 1.5, 1.5. But right now it's 1 to 1.4, so it's actually like 2.5 trillion. It's less than 3 trillion. But let's say 3 trillion. There's over a quadrillion in fiat currency. And what's a quadrillion? Hundreds and 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 hundreds of trillions of dollars is in fiat money. That's how diluted it is. And if you think that a little small area that's now 3 trillion can't gobble up some of those hundreds and hundreds of trillions of dollars, I mean, not exactly a long shot. Not exactly a long shot to think that that institutional money and all of those dollars that are being heavily diluted, that the institutions and the companies want to start parking their money into silver and Bitcoin. It's not exactly a long shot. So do I think silver is the new Bitcoin? I think it is silver and Bitcoin. Just like I've said in the past and why I've been opposed to Peter Schiff, is it's not some, battle between these two. It's not some battle between gold, silver, and Bitcoin. It's not a battle. They are just decentralized assets that make a much more logical place to park your money versus fiat currency. They're not in a battle with each other. If anything, they're friends. They're friends that have the same common enemy. So it just blows my mind how he just doubles down and doubles down. Bitcoin. It's like, just realize that they're on the same team. They're on the same team, and we're lucky that Bitcoin exists because people that are now into silver came from crypto space. A lot of them came from the crypto space because they were, some kid, some 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid that got passionate about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and realized, wait a minute, what is money? This doesn't make any sense. This whole system of money, it doesn't make any sense. And all of those eyes are being opened. And so guys like Peter Schiff and all these guys that have been so opposed to Bitcoin, they should be thanking Bitcoin. They should be thanking the cryptocurrency space for drawing so much awareness about what is money in the first place. Why do we consider money to be money? What makes money valuable? And when you finally understand that my very broad definition, this is just one that I came up with, is money should be something that's hard to get. If I had to say it in one sentence, just one clear sentence of what is money to all of the youth out there and all the people watching my videos right now, money should be something that's hard to get. That would be my quote on money. If there was a quote, end quote, it'd be money should be something that is hard to get. And right now, it's not hard to get for the Fed. They just print it. Silver's hard to get. Bitcoin is hard to get. Gold is hard to get. Personally, I think platinum is probably the hardest to get when you think about the refining techniques and everything. So I am the most bullish. Again, just for everybody that might be new to the channel here, my portfolio is silver, platinum, Bitcoin, and then gold at the end. The platinum and Bitcoin position I am adding to. My silver position I am adding to as well, but I have an established silver position for quite some time now, and I'm very happy with my gains in silver. Now, it's not GameStop gains, but it's on a percentage basis. On a basis of how much money was made. That's the thing that I should make a video just about conviction. I know that I'm making some videos that are redundant, but some people want to watch a quick clip. And so I've been wanting to make more and more clip videos that are just maybe a 10-minute video about buying something with conviction versus not buying something with conviction. But just real quick, I think I talked about this just a second ago on the live stream, but if you buy something with conviction and you go, I can put my net worth in this and I really believe in this going up, that's how you make the big money. The big cheese is made with buying something with conviction and sitting on your hands. I've been buying silver with conviction since the teens, and I have videos on it. Because of that, the gain is way larger than taking a bunch of gambles. If you think that you can turn 1,000 into 10,000, it's not the same as me putting $1 million in silver and turning it into 2 million. It's a big difference. I might have only made 100% gain, and that person might have made a 10x gain. But who made more money? I know that not everybody has $1 million to work with. I get that. I understand that. But the thing I want to talk about is a person that has $1 million in the first place isn't going to be willing to park that $1 million on GameStop. They're not going to be, because if they were capable of getting $1 million together, they're not going to risk it on a sketchy play like GameStop. And if they did, well, it dropped from 200-300. They would have gotten lucky if they got in prior to all of that, but not many people did. You know, if you put it at 200, well, guess what happened now? Now it's at 40. So that position you're taking, and I've seen it on the forums and everything with all of these wholesale channels and stuff. I've seen people that have taken losses in the stock market of, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on GameStop and AMC and all of that, and really fell for that I mean, I don't want to call it a scam. It was, you know, a beautiful thing in the beginning, really beautiful and elegant to stick it to the hedge funds in the beginning, but it's not a trade that you can do with conviction like I can do with silver. And so overall, I just wanted to bring that to the surface. How much more of a difference it is to be able to buy something with true conviction and really believe in your investment versus taking a speculative play like a GameStop or something like that. What? Corrupted gave me $100? Dude. Thank you, man. That's so generous of you, man. I really appreciate that. He goes, wow, preach, my man. Absolutely agreed with you 10,000 or 100,000% with you on everything you've said, especially when it comes to Peter Schiff. Well, Corrupted, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Anything I can do to help you out, that means a lot to me, man. Thank you. But yeah, it's I've always wanted to talk with Peter Schiff, and as the channel continues to grow, maybe I can make that interview possible, but he's got to come up with some sort of new argument. I'm willing to hear his argument out, but it's very hard for him to debate somebody like me because I own physical silver. I own platinum. I own gold. So you can't really argue against me that I'm bullish on Bitcoin as well because A, he's been wrong, and B, it's not like there's a battle between these two things like he pretends it is. It's not a battle at all. These are the market caps of metals, and Bitcoin is tiny. It's minuscule in comparison to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trillions of fake money out there. So it's like every time someone buys a Bitcoin at 55,000, they're not eating up at gold's market cap per se. They're taking 55,000. You don't buy Bitcoin with gold. You know, I know that on a smaller level, some people might be trading and bartering, but as you know, 99% of it is being bought with fiat currency. You know, it's being bought with fiat. If anything, Bitcoin guys are going, I made a lot of money on my Bitcoin. I'll take some off the table and get some gold. Fine, I'll hold some gold. Excuse me, fine, I'll hold some silver. They buy it with the Bitcoin. But they are mainly taking fiat and putting it into Bitcoin. So there isn't really a battle there like Peter Schiff makes it out to be. It's just like, and when you hear these arguments that I have against him, he really doesn't have a counter. There really isn't a counter to these arguments. It's like, okay, are you a bully? Like, what's the point, Schiff? You just like a bully or something? You got a 1 trillion market cap here with Bitcoin, and you're just bullying and bullying and bullying this 1 trillion market cap of a beautiful way to move money around digitally. Bitcoin is elegant. I can't deny it's elegant. It's extremely elegant. The designs behind Bitcoin and paying a decentralized network on a sliding scale on how fast you want your Bitcoin to move through the network based on how much fee you can pay that network to move the Bitcoin. It's like the design of this thing is just elegant. That's what pushed me over the edge, is realizing that this was a network, and networks are extremely valuable. You know, we have a network with Bitcoin. That is something that more people need to wrap their mind around. It's like the same people that went, why would Facebook ever pay $1 billion for Instagram? It's just a network. It would never. Why would you ever pay $1 billion for Instagram? It's just a network. How did that work out? What's Instagram worth now? You know, it's worth a lot. Networks are worth a lot. And this happens to be a network where you can safely move large quantities of capital through a decentralized network and effectively be your own bank. And my next videos are going to be actually, they might be watching this right now, but Kobo decided to sponsor me and send me a wallet, a couple of their, I think it's a Pro wallet or something. They're going to send me some of their Kobo. I already bought their stuff, but the Pro wasn't available or something. And so I wanted to try it out, even though I couldn't buy it. You know, so maybe they respected that. Maybe they respected that I would have just bought it anyway. So for all of my silver squirrels in the house, we're not waiting on anybody to be a sponsor, but it turns out they wanted to send me something. So we'll see if they actually follow through and they send me this Kobo Pro so I can review it for them and we can talk about these hard wallets. But that's the next things I want to talk about is how to use a hard wallet, why a hard wallet is interesting. Like I want to talk about all these different things. And I'm actually going to talk with that CEO. We were going to get on a call together and talk about this type of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. And maybe I'll send them this video so they can, and tell them the time I talked about it, because I would love to be able to talk more about these wallets, specifically from one of the best wallet makers. But yeah, I couldn't find it available anywhere. And if I could, I'd just buy it. So I think they're going to send me one of those, which is very cool of them. And we will find out. So far, I've tested the Trezor, I've tested the Ledger, and now I'm going to be testing the Kobo. I already have the Essential one. We'll see what that one's like. But I want to get, when I talk about something, I don't want to just be like, here's the Trezor. You know, I want to actually marinate on it and use it for a few months and really understand how it works. I want to bounce money around in it and see the way that the whole system operates and really absorb all the information prior to talking about it. There's a lot of people that want to just talk and talk and talk, but you got to study something a bit and actually try it out and test it with your own hands before you can talk about it. And so eventually I will be doing some videos on those. But Corrupted, man, I really appreciate that, dude. That means a lot to me. Thank you for doing that. But shoot me a DM on Instagram, Corrupted. I think I feel like I owe you something for shooting me $100. So shoot me a DM on Instagram and let's chat. Dude, are you serious, man? Are you serious? You got to reach out to me, bro. You got to reach out to me because that's crazy. You gave me another $100, man. That's so cool of you, dude. That's so cool. And then another guy gave me 34. Another guy gave me, dude, appreciate that. He goes, Graham Sogard. I'm going to read this next one from Corrupted because Corrupted is just so cool, man. He goes, sending you roughly an ounce of silver for all the value. Graham, appreciate you, Graham. Graham Sogard, thank you, man. And he goes, Bitcoin, Corrupted says, Bitcoin is the Internet of Money network. Your channel is going to do amazing. You get it fully. Schiff is just arguing just to pick fights. And I hope people buy gold from him and maybe even just truly doesn't. I hope that people buy gold from him and maybe even just truly don't see the beauty in Bitcoin's network. I hope he is not that dumb. Well, he is accepting Bitcoin on his Shift Gold site, right? That's interesting, you know, that he's accepting Bitcoin. A lot of bullion suppliers are accepting Bitcoin, including myself. So I don't think that he's going to be able to deny it for much longer. I mean, Bitcoin, I think Peter Schiff had the opportunity to buy Bitcoin back when it was like hundreds of dollars, just in the hundreds. Max Kaiser was pitching it to him. And Max Kaiser, you are a loopy dude, Max Kaiser, but you are awesome. I have to say, give you credit. I've watched these past videos of Max Kaiser and he is just sticking it to the interviewers. This guy, Max Kaiser, is a savage in the best way. What a cool cat. Such a cool cat, this Max Kaiser guy. If you haven't watched his videos, I highly recommend it. I think he's got like the Microdose podcast or something, but such a cool cat. Got in Bitcoin super early and has been just ripping Peter Schiff to shreds. But he's also just like, the reason I like Max Kaiser so much and is similar to Raoul Pal as well, is they are also in the precious metals world in addition to Bitcoin. So there is a place for both of these things in your portfolio. I can't just instantaneously shoot $1 million worth of silver to Australia. I can't do that. I can see the value of silver for items that are made in Australia, we could say, but I can't supply that need immediately and transfer that immediately. It's going to take a long time for me to get that much silver to Australia and all kinds of taxes and whatever it is to get it over there. That's why I'm only in the US with Mineral Exchange. But you'd be a fool to not see the value of Bitcoin. And so to add on to that topic with that Corrupted, the CARUPTED. So I think it means to say corrupted, corrupted with a K. The most value of Bitcoin and the eye-opening moment for me, everybody comes to a eureka moment and you see the Michael Saylors and all of these guys. I'm a small fry. I'm a 27-year-old entrepreneur. I'm not I am not some guy worth billions of dollars like Michael Saylor, but I really respect their logic and the way everybody comes to some sort of eureka moment. My specific eureka moment with Bitcoin, and I had a eureka moment with silver as well. But my eureka moment with Bitcoin is when I asked somebody, I said, what happens when we get to 21 million coins? What happens when we mine 21 million Bitcoin and it just ends? You know, I like to ask questions, and I highly recommend everybody that's skeptical to ask questions and maybe, you know, ask them in this live feed, But when I asked that question, he goes, no, they're going to stay on and they're going to continuously mine. And I'm like, what are they going to mine then? Well, if it ends at 21 million, what are they going to mine? That makes no sense. They go, and then his answer to me when I asked that question was my eureka moment with Bitcoin. When he said, no, when you send a wire transfer from a bank to bank, you pay them $35 and $15 to receive it, right? So the bank makes $50 off of sending a wire transfer. In the same way, you pay the network a fractional amount of Bitcoin to move your Bitcoin that is stored. So say we get to 21 million Bitcoin, which is inevitably going to happen. It's getting harder and harder to mine a Bitcoin, but when we get to 21 million Bitcoins and they're all mined, all of the miners are going to get paid with that Bitcoin that's already been mined and stored in hard wallets or stored wherever wallet they're stored in. When you decide to transfer Bitcoin to somebody else, that decentralized mining network gets paid in Satoshis, which is fractional amounts of Bitcoin, to process that transaction peer-to-peer. It's so elegant. The design on it, that was the eureka moment for me where I'm like, wow, that is elegant. You mean to tell me that all of the miners are a decentralized network that will basically effectively work together to provide proof of work and move your Bitcoin from here to there, and they get paid in the Bitcoin that you are sending? So if you're sending one full Bitcoin, you pay, you know, a fractional amount of Bitcoin to move that Bitcoin to the next wallet. Now, if you don't care if it gets there within a week, then you can pay them a very small amount and really pay. And this is what's cool about, I've been using this Trezor, and they allow you to send it economy or fast rate or, you know, whatever. You can choose how fast you want your Bitcoin to move. Now, if you wanted to get there instantaneously, you can pay a higher wire transfer fee to the network to move it instantaneously. Or you don't care if it gets there within a day or a week. You just want to get there. And that might be somebody that wants to move it from their Coinbase to their Trezor, from their Trezor to their Kobo, or whatever they want to do. They might not care if it takes a week to get to the other wallet. And they can do that for a tiny, tiny fraction amount of money by doing that. Such an elegant network. And when you have your Bitcoin in a hard wallet, well, you essentially are a bank. You're a reserve bank at that point. And coming from my industry, from the silver, you know, the precious metals industry, I know the difference between a reserve bank and a non-reserve bank. Right now we don't have reserve banks. What a reserve bank is when you give them your money, you give them 100 grand, let's say, they have that 100 grand in a vault. And usually with a reserve bank, you have to pay them to store your money because they're not leveraging your money. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you give it to Chase Bank and you go, hey, here's 100 grand. Here, Jamie Dimon, here's 100 grand of mine. Hold on to that for me, please. He's going to take that 100 grand and go, oh, thank you. We'll pay you nothing for that. 0.00001%. Not saying that's accurate, but somewhere around that range of nothingness. A fraction. I made fun of this in the last video. It's like the banks on your money pay you pennies on the dollar. That's always been the saying. Oh, they'll pay you pennies on the dollar. No. They will pay you a fraction of a penny on the dollar. Don't get us mistaken. You know, if I was Jamie Dimon, no, whoa. Don't be so generous with the pennies on the dollar thing. I don't pay percentages. You know, I don't pay a penny on the dollar would be 1%. We don't do that here at Chase Bank. We pay you a fraction of that. Like, we don't do that. Calm down now. Calm down with the pennies on the dollar thing. We don't do that around here. That's too generous. It's ridiculous. But that's the difference between a reserve bank and a non-reserve bank. And what they will do is they'll take your 100 grand at Chase Bank and then they'll just go short silver with it, or they'll play in the stock market with it, or give out 1 million loans against it. They'll do whatever they want with your 100 grand. It's up to them. It's basically like, hey, can you hold on to this for a while? Yeah, sure. We'll do whatever we want with it. Right on. But a reserve bank goes, okay, we'll hold it for you. It's going to be a bit of annoying to be the custodian. We'll hold it. We're taking on a risk. You have to pay us 1% or whatever, or 0.5% a year to hold on to your 100 grand, but it's going to be here in our vault when you need it. When you come here, we can give you the whole 100 grand because it's here and it's sitting here for you. We got it in our vault. That's the difference. But when you have a Bitcoin on a hard wallet, you are essentially a reserve bank with a 0% interest rate. You have a 0% interest rate because you are storing that Bitcoin on a hard wallet, and there's no cost to do that. And it's all there to be fully accessed whenever you want. You don't have to ask anyone for favors. You don't got to ask anybody for permission. It's there. You have it. If you have 3 Bitcoin on a hard wallet, that 150 grand or 160 grand or whatever that's there, you don't have to go to the bank and beg them to give it to you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to file a wire transfer or anything. You just have it. And you can connect it to your computer and you can send it whenever you want. You got it. You're a reserve bank at a 0% interest rate with no custodian other than yourself. And if somebody can't see the elegance behind that you could store all of your money, if you memorized your 12-word seed phrase in your head, and I'm talking about this stuff because I've actually done this stuff. You know, I actually have researched it, and now I understand what a seed phrase is. You can't really talk about this until you've set up a hard wallet and you understand exactly what it is that you're talking about. But to say that the elegance of having a 0% bank where you have full access to all of your funds and can do whatever you want with it whenever you want, you know, that was like the second eureka moment. The first one was realizing how beautiful the network is, where you can pay the network of miners to move your asset from here to there. Or the biggest eureka moment, the other one is, well, that was probably the biggest eureka moment, but the other eureka moment is when you realize, oh, I can store my asset, and then if I want to move it, I can pay the network on a sliding scale basis to move my Bitcoin however fast I want to move it. So if I want it to go quick, I can pay them a good amount. If I don't care if it gets there within a week or two, I can move 100 grand for a couple bucks. You know, it's the system. It is hope. You know, Michael Saylor says it's hope. You know, it is. It's brilliant. And so for Peter Schiff to just constantly bash Bitcoin, I hope that the people that are on my channel know that a precious metals bull, somebody that is big in the precious metal industry, can still admire Bitcoin and see it as a very elegant thing and hold Bitcoin. I have Bitcoin. I think it's performed very well. But now at this point, I think the guys that are in Bitcoin are capable of looking at silver and going, hey, you know, I've made a lot of money on my Bitcoin. That's the funny thing about Peter Schiff and why maybe people don't want to spend their money with him at this, because, you know, if you're looking at this situation, it's like you've been trashing on my Bitcoin over and over and over again. And meanwhile, me, who has made a lot of money on my Bitcoin, is kind of interested in your silver, you know? So, yeah, I've made a lot of money on my Bitcoin, but you keep trashing on it. You know, why don't you say something nice for once and look at how beautiful and elegant the system is? And maybe I'd be comfortable sending you some of my Bitcoin because you accept it on your website, Mr. Schiff. And I kind of want to diversify a bit. I've made a lot of money on my Bitcoin, and I think silver's very undervalued here. I don't know about gold so much, but definitely I like silver. Kind of sad that your name has gold in it. You know, I like silver a little better. Mineral Exchange, I specialize in platinum and silver, and I work on more on an individual client basis instead of being a bulk company. I like to actually get on the phone and call people myself. So if you are interested in that, there's a lot of companies to buy your precious metals from, but I own mineralexchange.com, mineralex.com. If you go there, there's a wholesale buyers club link. If you click that and fill that out, I will get back to you. I'm a little bit back ordered right now, but I will get to you on an individual basis instead of being on a talking to some big company or dealing with somebody like that. But I think that it is very wrong to just constantly be bashing on Bitcoin when you realize that it's just a 1 trillion market cap. You know, it's just a 1 trillion market cap. They're not a battle between each other. If anything, they're friends and they're on the same team and they both have their elegant factors to them. Silver is needed to make computers and hard wallets and all these semiconductors and everything. They need the silver for that. So for all of these computers and everything mining the Bitcoin and all the solar panels, and by the way, if Bitcoin is processing as much energy as it is, which is one of the biggest arguments against Bitcoin, they say, oh, well, it's consuming so much energy, it's damaging the environment. Well, what happens when they solar farm the Bitcoin? Like, that's some eye-opening stuff to all the 450 people in here. You know, that's some eye-opening stuff right there. They're going to mine, but eventually they're going to want to do it in a safer way than using the power from the grid from the coal. They're going to want to do it from solar panels. So what happens when they start these big solar mining farms for Bitcoin, which they already are doing? Well, they're going to use silver for that. Peter, they're going to use silver. I've had enough of you, Peter Schiff. I've had enough of you. I don't even want the interview anymore. Mark Hollis just gave me 10 bucks and didn't even say anything. I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you, man. I hope that there's some value provided here, and I really do appreciate that. Mr. Cyanide says, money is something that maintains stable demand over time. With Bitcoin, we don't know what it will do long term. With gold, the same gold coin could have bought a nice outfit 1,000 years ago, just as it can today. You know, it's a good point. Mr. Cyanide, it's a good point. But at the same time, money evolves. They say roughly every 50 years, money evolves. And I think Bitcoin is a very beautiful and elegant evolution because I've thought about this quite a bit because I like gold. I don't like it as much as silver and platinum and Bitcoin, but I like gold. I like silver, platinum, and Bitcoin more than gold. And I've said that a lot. But I've thought about gold quite a bit. And what is the ultimate bull case for gold? Well, the ultimate bull case for gold would be the people that messed up the money in the first place own up to what they did and back the money to gold again. So if we went back to a gold standard, then I would see this big upside for gold where gold could get to, you know, tens of thousands of dollars per ounce. But you are hoping that one of the fiat currencies backs their money to gold. And who's to say like one of the countries wouldn't back it to platinum instead, you know, or wouldn't back it to another metal instead. But the other thing that bothers me is the rarity level, because gold doesn't have any industrial use really other than jewelry. And I know some people will be like, oh no, it's used in this and that. But I mean, on a percentage basis, we're talking 5% of gold is used in industry, something around that range. I mean, when you take jewelry out of the picture, other than that, it's just a luxury. It's a luxury metal. It's pretty, it's gold. There is far less silver above ground than there is gold. People think gold is more rare than silver. No, silver is more rare than gold. And platinum just destroys all of them on rarity. That's why platinum's skyrocketing right now. But platinum should be double the price of gold, in my opinion. I know quite a bit about platinum, and platinum should be a monetary metal. I know that everybody wants to hide from the fact that platinum could be a monetary metal, but I think that platinum could easily be a monetary metal, and I think it is the most noble of all of the noble metals. So it is the most dense. It is the hardest to refine. It has a 3,000 degree plus melting point. It is very hard to refine. It is very hard to mine. It's only available in certain parts of the world, and it is way, way more rare above ground in bullion form than all the other metals. Other than like rhodium and palladium, but those are even more scarce than platinum. But platinum is more noble than silver and gold of a metal. It's a harder, more dense metal. So I don't know, the whole argument with when you specifically say gold, platinum wasn't able to be refined up till about 300 years ago. And now platinum is getting some respect. But you say that gold was money, you know, thousands of years ago. Well, platinum wasn't even able to be mined 300 years ago. Bitcoin didn't even exist until 13 years ago, 14 years ago, right? So things change and they evolve. You know, platinum didn't even exist, period. And now you got an ounce of platinum that's worth, you know, $1,400, right? But it didn't even exist over 300 years ago. It was only able to be refined about 300 years ago. Johnson Matthey did that. And ironically enough, they made the standard instrument for a kilogram out of platinum because it's so dense and so durable that they wanted to make it out of the most durable metal and the densest of the metals, and they made it out of platinum. So I don't think that that's like the same argument where this has been money forever and it's always going to be money sort of thing. I think money does evolve. I think we used to use seashells as money, and I made a video about that. We've used seashells. We've used all kinds of materials as money as we've evolved as humans. I'm skeptical with Bitcoin, but I'd be hard-pressed to say that it's not anything of value there. It is a very beautiful and elegant system, and the network is designed in a certain way. I mean, I'm not on the same level as Michael Saylor or Elon Musk or Raoul Pal or Chamath Palihapitiya. These are all like proven geniuses. Look up old videos with Michael Saylor. Look up old videos of him talking about Apple and who's going to win the tech race and all this stuff. And same thing with Chamath Palihapitiya and Raoul Pal. It's like home run, home run, home run. It's like, yeah, I'm going to listen to these guys. Peter Schiff is right every 15 years, you know, and wrong for the other 14. You know, it's like, I'm going to listen to the guy the guy that's been right and right and right and right. It's like, I love this talk with Chamath Palihapitiya, and this is why I invested a lot more in Tesla. And I made a pretty substantial amount of money off Tesla. That's where a lot of my net worth came from. But Chamath Palihapitiya was on CNBC one time, and I know I'm getting to the end of my live stream. I want to do maybe another 10, 20 minutes here. I try to keep them about an hour and 30 minutes. But Chamath Palihapitiya, and I think you guys can look up this interview. I'm a big fan of Chamath. I think he's awesome. Chamath Palihapitiya is I always use the term savage, but when I use the term savage, I mean it in a good way. You know, a savage investor. He was on CNBC and he said something along the lines of like, okay, why are you so bullish on Tesla? Everybody's betting against Tesla. Why are you bullish on Tesla, Chamath? And Chamath said, okay, if I put a teacup in the middle of the ocean out there and I said, hit a hole in one, take this golf ball and this golf club and boom, hit a hole in one in the teapot out there in the ocean, I'd probably bet against you. You specifically. I might bet against you doing that, doing a hole in one on a teapot in the middle of the ocean. Well, Elon Musk has done it 3 times in a row. From the ocean, from the sand, went there, boom, hole in one. Boom, hole in one. Boom, hole in one. And so I'm going to bet on his 4th hit into a teapot, you know? And so that's how Chamath Palihapitiya, you know, put Tesla. And when I watched him say that and the way he said that with such conviction at the time when everybody was short on Tesla, and this is back when Tesla was like 200, you know, it was low. And that's prior to the stock split. So 200 relative to 4,000 or whatever it is now, 3,500. So pretty big upside there on Tesla. But it's like, I wouldn't bet against this guy. He's been winning. It's like, why would I bet against this guy? Chamath, who nailed the Tesla trade, ARK Invest, Kathy Wood, who nailed the Tesla trade, Michael Saylor, who nailed the Apple trade. These guys have been hitting home runs and calling out these big wins on these companies that ended up really succeeding, not just on a monetary level, but on the fact that their products are crushing it. They're doing very, very well in the future. These are all individuals that are bullish on Bitcoin. So to oppose these brilliant minds that are far more brilliant than my mind, I would rather hear them out. I would rather hear them out myself than to be like, okay, well, they make no sense. They make no sense. This doesn't make any, it's like, I would rather hear these people out. And I think that them being bullish on Bitcoin says something. It says something. But that being said, just because I believe in Bitcoin's future and I think it is a very elegant thing, doesn't take anything away from silver. It doesn't take anything away from precious metals. If anything, they're allies. They're on the same team. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I will accept Bitcoin for my precious metals and I will get precious metals for my Bitcoin. They will be used with each other. People, it's ironic because a lot of people in the precious metals world adamantly hate Bitcoin, but a lot of people from the Bitcoin world are willing to buy gold and silver and store it for a tangible item that they've made their profits in Bitcoin. And it's so ironic. I know a lot of people in the live feed here, you know, they know what I'm talking about. People in the Bitcoin world are not really that opposed to precious metals. They think that they had a lot more upside in Bitcoin. Turned out they were right. And they're probably looking to take some profits and take not all profits, but maybe move the Bitcoin into silver, move it into gold and have a little bit of both, you know? I've seen that quite a bit, literally. Not just figuratively, literally I've seen that. And so I just don't see it as like some competition or some sort of battle between them. They're friends. They're allies. They work together. You know, if anything, Bitcoin is drawing so much more exposure to decentralized assets, and that's where I stand on it, and that's where I have stand on it. My first full Bitcoin was back before, I want to say like before 10,000 for sure. And I was bullish on Bitcoin back then. I made a video on why I think Peter Schiff is wrong back when Bitcoin was like 9,000, 10,000, another one at 13,000, another one at 14,000, another one at 17,000. I mean, I've made videos over and over again on why I think Peter Schiff is wrong. And he actually commented on one of them. People can go back to one of those videos, and I pinned his comment too. I pinned his comment because it didn't age very well. You know, what's that funny, the Jeopardy line or something? It's like, I'll take comments that didn't age well for 50,000 by Peter Schiff. I'm in Jeopardy right now. I'll take comments that didn't age well for 50,000 by Peter Schiff. Oh, well, one time he went to Robert Sultan's video and he said, you know, I hope your channel does better than Bitcoin in the end. And it turns out both did pretty well, you know, but I think that's where it's like, I want to be able to talk with him about it and have a debate about it one day, but I have kind of dissed on him a little bit. I am a fan of his philosophies on being a libertarian. I'm a libertarian. I'm a fan of his in many ways, but I'm not a fan of just bashing and bullying something like he bullies Bitcoin like this. And meanwhile, his son is actually big on Bitcoin, which is hilarious. I think they're both decentralized assets, and I think there's a place for both of them. I don't think there's any reason to hate each other or have some sort of battle between each other. It doesn't make any sense to me. But on to the next one. On to the next question here. We'll answer a few more questions. Let me get to a few more questions here. Mr. T, by the way, Mr. T, I really appreciate that that comment you made a little. He put it at 1776. I appreciate that, man. He gave me 1776, Mr. T. You're the man. That's a great number. A great number. I really appreciate that, Mr. T. Sorry, I got on a little bit of a rant there before I acknowledged that comment, but thank you for that, and a great number that you chose. Apes know silver is going to the moon. So do the silver squirrels. So do the silver squirrels. I'm glad you guys chose ape because silver squirrel's mine. That's our community over here. We love you guys. We love you guys in Wall Street Silver. We're fans, but you guys are the gorillas. We're the silver squirrels. We'll work in unison. We're cool with each other. We get along, you know, as long as, I mean, I think apes they eat plants and stuff, right? So we're cool. We're cool to hang out with each other. You know, apes and squirrels, we're cool. Ape sold Bitcoin. Ape bought silver. The thing is, it's like a lot of people that are in Bitcoin are willing to sell some of their Bitcoin or trade some of their Bitcoin for silver. I mean, they don't see it as a negative thing, silver. They think that they can make more off their Bitcoin, and they're willing to take a little bit more of a gamble and be in Bitcoin. But they're really not haters of precious metals in the same way that Peter Schiff is hating on Bitcoin. They really aren't. I haven't seen that kind of hate from the Bitcoin crowd. I've seen them as like, yeah, you know, I think your silver is going to go up. I do. I think it's going to go up. I think it's needed. I just think my Bitcoin might, you know, double or triple a little faster than that. But I definitely will take some of it. I think it's going to go up. You know, like that's usually the talks I have with the Bitcoin guys. And maybe that's because I'm one of them. But there's really not that much hate from the Bitcoin crowd, especially for silver. See, Chris Freestein says, true, I scrape crypto profits to buy metals. I mean, it happens quite a bit. It happens quite a bit. And I just don't think that there's really I really don't think there's hate. I don't think that there's hate between the two. Ape share it on Wall Street Silver. This is the way. Hey, whoever wants to share my videos on Wall Street Silver, hey, I'm a fan of your guys's, man. I'm giving you guys shout outs. I changed my channel titles. Like I'm sure a Wall Street Bets title is more clickbaity, you know, but I've been doing Wall Street Silver. I'm trying to get some exposure for you guys and help you guys out, all those fellow gorillas out there. We're the silver squirrels over here, but our fellow gorillas over there, the silverback gorillas, we're cool with you. We're cool with you. Max Kaiser. Yeah, Max Kaiser is awesome. Peter knows Bitcoin is a threat to his gold business. He is protecting his interest, and it's unfortunate as all of his followers missed the chance to get in early on Bitcoin. And Max Kaiser would be the first to tell you that. I talked about Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was much less, and I said, you know, it's worthy of a 5% position in a decentralized portfolio, in my opinion, and that's what I ddid. Now that position has grown quite a bit because it's like 10x from there, or even more than that, or around that, somewhere in that range. But yeah, it's a speculative play, and I think it's foolish to say Bitcoin is a zero, and I think it's, you know, or rather, I think it's foolish to go all in on Bitcoin, and I think it's equally foolish to have none and call it a zero. So both of those spectrums are foolish in my opinion. So all in, foolish. Zero of it, calling it a zero, foolish. So somewhere in the middle of the spectrum is where I lie. That's how I feel about Bitcoin. That's like my genuine feel on it. Starry Stripe says Bitcoin is a zero. I mean, it's not. It's at 55,000. So, I mean, it's not. But you can keep telling yourself that if it makes you sleep better at night or something, you know. PSLV, Bitcoin mining stocks, way to go. You know, if you weren't able to be a custodian of your Bitcoin for free, I would say that the Grayscale Trust and everything, there is a learning curve on how to use a hard wallet, and I plan to help people with that. People have been talking to me about making a Discord, or I forget what the different things are that you can do, where you can make like a little bit of a membership type thing where we can all talk about this in a group or something like that, where we can be comfortable and I don't have to constantly say, you know, disclaimer, this is not advice, this and that. There's like a format where I can do a membership type thing and we can talk about that more openly. But I do plan to talk a lot more about hardware wallets on the channel and help people with that a lot more. Andrew Franz said, can we talk about how convenient it was for the centralized banks back in 1913 when the three richest men fighting the central banks were on it and died? Interesting stuff to research. I am not familiar with that. In 1913, that's when the London gold fix happened between the 5 top banks in London, I believe. Is it 1913 or is it somewhere really close to that time, or it might be 1911? I have an old gold bar that has a Mikado Goldsmith counter stamp on it, and it has 2 of the bullion brokers from the London Gold Fix. I believe the London Gold Fix, if somebody could Google that right now in the live stream, I think it was 1911. It might have been 1913. It might have been at a very similar time than that. Patreon, that's what it is. I'll have to remember that, Patreon. Federal Reserve Act was signed in 1913. I was talking, that was the Federal Reserve Act. Well, when was the London Gold Fix? I can't look up on Google or else it'll mess up the live stream here, but I believe the London Gold Fix was somewhere around that same time as well, which is when all the top bullion brokers at the time fixed the price of gold together, which is wild to me. It's like, hey, we have the gold and we're going to tell you what it's worth right now. It's like, it's pretty wild. Look at the subscribe star. I don't know what that means. But we're going to get to the end of this live stream. I don't want to do these live streams for too long. I want to keep them between an hour and 2 hours, so we're right about there. I'm going to answer a few more questions here. I'll try to get to all the questions I can, and then we're getting to the end of this live stream. I want to be able to post these and so other people can enjoy these. Keep it at kind of a certain range of time here on these live streams. But I really enjoy doing these. Mr. T in the house. Disaster imminent. Hey, I love when my community is like, don't forget to put a thumbs up, because you know that I'm going to be the guy. You know that I will be the guy in here. If you guys don't say it, I'll be the guy like going, okay, guys, please smash that like button. You know, if you do want this content to get out there more, and it has been really helping if people smash that like button. We're at 212 likes right now. If you could help get it to 300, would really appreciate it. If you smash that like button, if you just are trying to stick it to Yellen, stick it to those crazies out there saying inflation doesn't exist, take it out on that like button. Smash the like button. Would really, really appreciate it. Does really help. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, please just click the red subscribe. All you have to do is click the red subscribe down below and the bell afterwards. You'll be notified of all future videos on this channel. It's totally free to do it, free of charge. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I do my best. I mean, yeah, in the titles, there's a clickbaity, pile of silver. I do some clickbaity stuff, but I hope you realize in the actual content that there's some gems of information in here, and I hope it's worth your time. If it's not, shoot me a DM and tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can learn from it, because I'm doing my best to give, I haven't really talked about how the market caps are so close between Bitcoin and silver, and I wanted to bring some more information that I haven't talked about yet in this live stream. So I always appreciate constructive criticism. Please shoot me a DM on my Instagram. If I missed your question, your comment, please send me a DM on Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. I'm working through them and I will get back. You have my word, and hold me to it. Hold me to it. All my fellow silver squirrels out there, hold me to it. If I don't get back to you, shoot me another DM and say, hey, man, it's been a few weeks. You get back to me already. I will get back to you. I promise. It's just taking me a little while. I've been expanding the warehouse and growing Mineral Exchange, and it's been a big process for me. So I am going to get back to every single DM. If I missed your question, just follow me on Instagram at RobSultan on Instagram and shoot me a DM there. I will get back to you. You have my word. Hold me to it. If you would like to be subscribed, would love to have you in the community. Totally free to do either. Free to follow me on Instagram, free to subscribe to this channel. And I will be putting a lot more content out there just on the regular videos as well. Sultan, are you hiring? Ironically, yeah. Ironically, yeah, I am. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM. We're actually expanding too. Michael Saylor is buying. He says someone said he's buying Bitcoin. Mr. T says this isn't a YouTube show. It's financial education, priceless. And what's beautiful about it is we're able to talk to each other live in the live stream. I choose to, when you do the live streams, you can choose whether you have like medium latency or high latency or low latency or ultra low latency. And I choose ultra low latency, and the quality still comes out okay. And the reason I choose the lowest latency is so that we can all talk in real time. And I don't have a moderator. I don't delete any comments out there. This one, we have a lot of fellow silver squirrels in the house, and it's been a peaceful one. When I talk bad about Dogecoin, when I talk bad about certain things, and turned out that was right to say that. I mean, I hate to be like, I was right, but didn't work out too well for Dogecoin and the GME and all of that. That was when we had some painful stuff in the crowd, but I still leave it all up in the comments, and I put the latency at super low so that we can all talk to each other. And that's how you learn. That's how you learn, is by having feedback with each other and talking with each other in the live stream. It's not just only about my opinion on it. It's elegant that we have something like this. It's elegant that we have something like this where we can actually have something where we can talk in real time. Following months are vital. The dude Marley says, apes buy every day. Apes will be victorious. I'm rooting for you. Am I on Team Ape? You know, somebody screenshot this and throw this on WallStreetSilver. Fellow squirrel says he likes the apes too. Throw that up on WallStreetSilver. Throw it up there. I love you guys over there. I love you guys over there. I think it's awesome that you're getting a ton of more information out to the general public about silver. And I love that it's something where it's like you're buying it to hold it. You're buying it and considering it money. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And when I first saw the eyeballs going towards my arena, my business of silver, I was like, finally people are talking about silver. It's been so long. Thank you for finally talking about silver. It's so undervalued and so needed in this day and age. I loved it. And so it's also really nice that they took it away from the WallStreetBets, because it was really up in the air with, is this WallStreetBets talking about silver? Is it just somebody bringing it up over there? What is this? And it is its own feed now on Reddit, this WallStreetSilver feed. And props to you for creating that feed. Props to you. And I'm watching it. I'm in there. I'm looking at it. I don't know. I haven't made my own account yet, but I've been looking at it and watching what you guys are all talking about in there and all the pictures you guys are showing off in there. Very impressive. Some serious stackers in there. So it's beautiful to see. Beautiful to see. I'm talking about in here because we're on the same team. Squirrels and apes get together. We get together. Captain Comex Crunch. I mean, we're going to see what happens in this Comex. We're going to see what happens. I got a feeling people are going to be asking for deliveries more. You should do a show with Jake from I Love Prosperity. You know, actually a cool guy. We're going to be doing an interview together soon. I think next Friday. channel name is Bulldog Mindset. Bulldog Mindset. He might be in the house, but if he isn't, maybe we'll watch the video later. But I am going to do a live stream with him, just talking about the whole space and everything. I'm looking forward to that. Seems like a really cool guy. That will be happening pretty soon. But yeah, if you have somebody else that you would want to see me do a interview with, I'm more than happy to do it. I need to figure out how to do the Zoom calls or how to do the interview, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out in that time. But shoot a message to him, shoot a comment. Hey, do an interview with Rob Sultan and tag me or something. And I'm more than happy to do that. That'd be awesome. We will keep the live stream going for another like 5 more minutes, guys. 5 more minutes. And right now, silver is still going up. Silver's at 27.63 right now. 27.63 on the ask. I'm going to make a bold prediction. This is just my opinion, not advice, but I think silver jumps 30 in the next 2 weeks. I think silver jumps 30 in the next 2 weeks. That's what I think happens. And I think that this coming event of the contracts expiring, I believe it's what, February 26th is what people are saying. I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot. It's like almost like an earnings report in a sense, you know, it's like, is it going to be a surprise earnings report? What is it going to be? I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot more companies asking for the goods to be delivered. I think there's going to be a lot more institutions asking for the goods to be delivered, and we're going to be surprised at the level of physical silver buying happening. And we also might be surprised of the people leaving SLV and going into PSLV. I have a feeling there's going to be more like Citrons and the sketchy banks and SLV, and the retail traffic, which is, as we've seen with GME, a very powerful traffic, is going to start going into PSLV. That's what I think. That's my little personal prediction on what I think happens in the near future. But I think the breakout over 30 is going to be with conviction. It danced for a little bit over 30, but the volume that brought it over 30 was tremendous. And then the fall from 30 was like a slow residual fall. And obviously, because it's still holding over 27 strong, you know, so the pullback wasn't a very strong pullback over 30. And so I think the next run over 30 goes, you know, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and starts really jumping. And all the people that are going, oh, silver's too high right now, they're going to be the same people that are saying Bitcoin is too high at 55,000 when they could have bought at 10,000. The same people, same types. You know, it's like stick to a consistent buying strategy, stick to a consistent thesis. That's my personal opinion on it. And I've been talking about that for a while. If you go to my old videos, this isn't just right now. I've been talking about this. I really do try my best to not be one of the talking hands channels that flip flops back and forth, because if you put your face out there, you know, it's kind of hard to flip flop from one idea to another. You know, it's like, people will call you out for that. And I've seen so many channels where it's like, do this with silver now, this is the time to do this with silver. And it's like, no, I've believed in doing the same thing since silver was in the teens, you know, a consistent buying strategy. I believed in Bitcoin being a small amount of my decentralized portfolio as a strategic, you know, risk a while ago. So I do my best to stay consistent. But I have a feeling that silver could easily break 30 in the next 2 weeks here. That's my personal opinion. Again, if you guys are just getting in the live stream right now, please do subscribe to the channel. Click the red subscribe down below and the bell afterwards. It's totally free to do it, and you will be notified of all future live streams and all future videos on this channel. If you click, I believe when you click the bell, you click the subscribe, and if you click the bell, it'll ask you if you want all notifications. And if you click all notifications, it'll give you a little alert every time I go live. And it's always a blast doing these live feeds. So I'd love to have you as part of the community. Again, it's totally free to subscribe. If I missed your question over here, they're saying Zillus, my buddy Jay is saying flip the sand timer. I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. That's going to be another 30 minutes. I'm just going to do a little bit longer here. I said I was going to do an hour, and now we're at an hour 45. You know, I always push it, but I do appreciate you guys wanting me to stay on. They won't allow you to buy PSLV on Robinhood. Wow. I noticed they won't allow you to do options on that either, because they make their money off of giving your options information to the big banks. PSLV is just you buy it and you have access to physical silver. It was on TD Ameritrade. I showed my TD Ameritrade showed PSLV, but it didn't have an options chain, which is very interesting because I'm an options account. Very interesting. Robinhood won't allow you to buy PSLV. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. That tells me every reason why I should buy PSLV. Then, by the way, did anybody watch that? Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Did anybody watch that interview recently with Vlad? Or not an interview. He's actually, I think he's on stand. He's on trial or something. I don't know if it's considered trial or what it is, but he was on like in a legal way. And this guy has like this crazy haircut going on, and you're just like, he's guilty. He's guilty. This guy, he's guilty. I don't care what any YouTube channel he was on. He's guilty. I call you guilty. Just my opinion, just joking around. But I mean, he looked guilty to me. He looked like somebody that I didn't want to trust. I'll tell you that much. It was pretty wild. I'm like, who gets their hair cut like that? Sorry to be like, point out something. I don't mean to be a bully, but anybody with that kind of haircut's guilty in my mind. I'm just gotta throw that out there. I'm just kidding around, just joking. But he's something tells me that guy is there's something off here. There's something, yeah. He was talking like totally shady, man. Totally shady. Wasn't answering any of the questions. His hair looked like Keanu's cut of the '90s. It was funny. I didn't get it. And when he did what I judge people on and why I like doing these live streams is it's very hard to, say something inaccurate or dance around a question or something when you're doing it live. When your first take is of something that's usually your genuine feel. Is your first take. And the first interviews with him, this is talking more in a serious tone. I'm just joking around about what I said a second ago. But the reason I say that, though, is in the first interviews this Vladimir guy did, he was like smiling and like, oh yeah, I really am proud of the decision that my team made, and I think he did a great job, and I trust my team, and and he didn't care. The guy didn't care at all about what happened. He had no care in the world about what happened with Robinhood. Just look at the first interviews with him on Squawk Box on CNBC. That's the genuine feel he has. You got to watch those first interviews. And then after that, he starts coming up with, basically what happened is that was his first, I don't care. We made a lot of money. The banks, own us, and we did what we did. And I'm proud of doing what we did. And then he goes from there to talking with his, PR guys, the public relation team. And they're like, okay, you got to be more likable, guy. You got to be more likable, guy. You got to do this, this, and that. And, you got to say this, this, and that. And you got to go and, do that. And then he started talking more elegantly with like these YouTube channels and stuff, and got on like Andre Jink's channel, and got on like, Meet Kevin's channel. And everybody was so soft on him. They were so soft on him. I would have, guys, get me those interviews in the future. Silver Squirrels, get me those interviews. You know what I would do. You wouldn't go on my channel. I would rip him a new one. But yeah, he definitely talked to some serious PR guys, and then his stories changed, and he sounded more likable, and he tried to do all of that stuff. But I don't trust that guy. I don't trust him myself. I got silver in 1973 for $3.50. My bad. $3. Congratulations, Gene Richard. That's a nice ROI there. Politician, nothing to do. Don't put your money in the hands of that. And that's really you know what? That's a good thing to end this on. That's a good thing to end this on. I don't think I didn't miss any more super chats or anything. By the way, the guy who gave me $100, thank you, man. That was 200 actually. That's extremely generous, man. Extremely generous. It means a lot to me, man. Thank you for that. That's a good thing to end this live stream on. Is there is nothing free. That is one of the biggest problems that we have is people that want free stuff. There's nothing. You get freedom or free stuff, one or the other. And I always talk like this guy, the Sammy the Bull guy or whatever. I've been watching his videos. It's just like, it keeps me on the edge of my seat, this guy talking. It's pretty cool, these interviews this guy does. But it's like back in those days of the mob and whatnot, if you take money from them, well, guess what? You got a puppet string on your back. If you take money from them, it don't matter if you pay them back in full. It don't matter if you pay them back in full in those days. You owe them, period. It's just that's just the way it is. And the more free stuff you take, the less freedom you have. You give up your freedom for the free stuff. That's how it happens, you know? And so in relation to the Robinhood situation there, and this is the reason we talked about Robinhood, is because they don't allow you to buy PSLV, which is something I didn't even know, which is amazing. When we do these live streams, we learn stuff together. I didn't even know that. And now everybody that watches this video from somebody bringing that up, now all of them know to start using a different exchange that allows you to buy PSLV, because they're only allowing you to buy SLV. And they're the people who run the company are the bankers in their back pockets. And if you don't believe me, just listen to this guy's interview when he's on the stand. The guy is quaking in his boots. He's just scared as can be. The guy is sweating. You know, he just knows he's done something wrong. But you can't get freedom and free stuff at the same time. You got to choose one or the other. I choose freedom myself. I'm a capitalist. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist. I'm a libertarian. I believe in those philosophies. That's my personal beliefs. I don't believe in free stuff. I believe in freedom. And I'm willing to give away all my free stuff to have freedom. That's me personally. But the relevancy to Robinhood is when you take free trades. When you're paying nothing for your trades, how is this company profitable? You take free stuff. You get a free platform to use, and very elegant platform, nicely designed. The coding team did a good job on the app. I'll give them that. But it's free. So you get all this software for free, all this beautiful software for free. We also get all the trades for free. What did you lose in that scenario? Well, you lost the freedom to your information. Every trade you do, all of the microseconds or whatever, milliseconds, all of that is instantly given. All of your information is given up to the big funds, and that's how they make their profit. They got to make their money somehow with Robinhood. How do they make their money? They're a company worth billions of dollars, right? They got to have some way to make their money. So you get the free stuff, you get the free trades, you get all the free use of the app and the software. But you give up your freedom of being able to buy PSLV, of having, you know, the transparency of your trades. Now all of your trades are transparent to the big funds that are betting against you. They know what you're doing in real time. You know, why would you want to play poker with your cards showing? That's the best analogy possible. Would you want to play me in poker and have to show your cards facing up with me getting to hold my cards? Hedge funds get to hold their cards, and you get to show them your cards as you're making your bets in real time in the stock market. How unfair is that? How unjust is that? And that's what Robinhood's doing. Stealing from the poor and giving to the rich. The exact opposite. So that is the truth of the situation. I didn't know that they wouldn't allow you to buy PSLV. That just gives you every more reason to, you know, jump ship from Robinhood into a different team. Someone gave me $4 and said, does Webull allow you to buy PSLV? I don't know, but a Webull person actually reached out to me recently. I'll have to talk to them. I'll reach back out to them and ask them that, or try, but I'll look into that. But I hope that is a some good information to get out there. I appreciate everybody for being part of this live stream. It's always a blast doing these live streams. I do them kind of impromptu, but yes, it seems that silver might be the next Bitcoin, or is it just silver and Bitcoin? I'm thinking more of the latter, but it's very interesting to see silver's market cap competing, you know, or not competing, but I mean, getting close to each other with Bitcoin and silver. And it just shows that the needle can get moved on these large $1 trillion assets. It shows the needle can get moved on a $1 trillion asset. Very interesting to see. Very interesting to see. Unite Don't Fight says, love your show. You've been an inspiration for me. Just watched 5 documentaries yesterday on Bitcoin and was completely fascinated. Unite Don't Fight. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It hypes me up that we have such a great community growing here. And I mean, let's be real. Everybody that's been with me from the beginning, my subscribers, I was at like 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers, like less than a month ago. And the channel has just blown up, and I am just so thankful that I'm able to talk with all of you, and the community's grown into what it is today. So thank you so much for being here. Everybody that subscribed to the channel, everybody that likes the videos and helps this information get out there. So thankful. The only thing I can do is the only thing I can do to thank you is when I say I'm going to do an hour-long live stream, make it a 2-hour live stream. and stay on here until I fall asleep on the counter over here, because I will do it. You guys know I've done a live stream for like 6 hours and it's posted. I will do it. I love you guys that much. So I really do appreciate you all being here, and the growth has just been tremendous. If I did miss your question over here, if I missed your question, please follow my Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. Shoot me a DM there. I will get back to you. You have my word. I will get back to every single question in my DMs. It's been a very hectic couple weeks here. I've been expanding Mineral Exchange and growing my company right now, and I will be getting back to not only all my DMs on Instagram, and a lot of those DMs are how to get silver, and I'm helping you guys on an individual basis. So if you're looking to get into silver, I can help you on Instagram. Shoot me a DM there, and we can figure out a way to get you some silver. If you want to go to the company website, mineralexchange.com, if you go to the Wholesale Buyers Club link, you can fill out what you're looking for there, and a sales representative, it might be myself, call you and help you out on an individual basis. I'm working through both of those things right now. It's been a very, very busy. I should share on my Instagram. You know what? On my Instagram, I'll post a picture of the new shipping room. It'll probably blow some people's minds how beautiful this new shipping room is, and the expansion in the new warehouse. So shoot me a DM on Instagram if I missed your question here. Would love to get back to you all. Again, I did get reached out to by a great guy. He goes by Bulldog Mindset here on YouTube, and he wants to talk to me on an interview, which look forward to that. Everybody on the page, I will be posting that, or get at least the information. It might be posted on his channel. I don't know how that interview thing works. It'd be the first one that I've ever done. So that's in the future as well. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you haven't smash that like button. Maybe we can get it to 300 likes. We're at 284 likes. If we can get that to 300 likes, that'd be awesome. To end this live stream, we'd appreciate that. But again, thank you so much. Gene Richards says, new subscriber here. Hypes me up. Thanks for being part of the Silver Squirrel team over here, Richards. Gene Richards. Sorry, that's how you know I've been live for a while, is when I start stumbling. But it is always a pleasure. Thank you all so much for being here. Signing out. See you at the next live stream. And I will be posting a lot more individual videos on this page as well. A lot of people have been saying to do those more short-term 10, 15-minute videos as well. And there will be a lot more of those in the near future, especially once I catch up to everything with the company and with the new warehouse and everything. But a lot of exciting things happening. Thank you for being here again. Signing out. See you at the next live stream.